Hey, Em. How you doing, girl? It's your dad. Your handsome dad. Miguel Angelo Trujillo in the flesh. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good, girl. I'm doing fine. So today is the 8th of May. That's right. The 8th day of the 5th month of the 19th year of the 21st century. And partly the reason that I look so good today is that I don't have my braces on. Check that out. Now, is that amazing or what? Oh boy. My teeth, do you see those? Those pearly whites? They have been set free. Free at last. Free at last. My teeth have been set free at last from the tyranny of braces, who has held down my teeth for too long. And so pleased that I got my braces off yesterday at approximately 9 o'clock a.m. I got them removed. Whew. So nice. I've got these visions in my head about all the foods that I'm going to eat without braces. I've told you about apples, but I'm also equally as interested in eating like nuts and corn nuts, especially those corn nuts. So good. Those I don't know what to call them. They're just like deep fried corn nuts. Do you know what corn nuts are? Like ranch flavored corn nuts. Oh yeah, picante flavored corn nuts. Oh yeah, they're really good. So I'm looking forward to eating a lot of foods without food getting caught up in my grill, you know? Now my eating is going to be a lot nicer in the sense that I will be able to eat and stuff just won't get stuck permanently in my teeth. There was a time I was brushing my teeth after, basically, I've done that for the last year and a half. I've brushed my teeth after every meal. Now, I don't mind that. That nowadays, of course, it's become old hat. I do it all the time. But it was kind of a change. I used to just brush my teeth twice a day, but that's actually raises an interesting question. Will I brush my teeth after every meal now? And you know what? I might very well do that. I know. I think to some extent it's a good habit. There's also another reason. I am now wearing retainers, right? And the retainers that I'm wearing now, apparently, I have to wear 24/7, at least for a month. And I think that's going to drive me to still brush my teeth after every meal so that I can replace the retainers in teeth that are clean. And I can keep the retainers clean that way too. So I think at least for the time being, for at least the next 30 days anyway, I will be brushing my teeth after every meal so I can replace the retainers. Yeah. Now, after 30 days, there's a different kind of retainer that I'm going to start wearing, and it's called a Hawley, Hawley, I think, which might be a reference to the designer of the retainer. Anyway, that's a retainer that I only have to wear at nighttime. Whew. So really, the story kind of comes to a conclusion or comes to an end when it comes to my teeth in 30 days. So if today is the 8th of May, then by the 8th of June, I'll be wearing a retainer only at nighttime. So that is something I can handle. That is definitely something I can do. That is reasonable. Now, I had a choice to get sort of like inside braces, like a retainer that just sort of keeps my teeth together. But the retainer is permanently fixed, and I decided not to get that. And I think for me, the reason's pretty clear. Like, I'd rather just stuff a retainer in my mouth at night every night than have this grill. I lived with a grill for a year and a half, and I'm not sure that I want to continue to live with a grill. A grill's a drag. Let me tell you, food gets caught up in it. It's kind of gross. And you're also limited in the foods that you can eat. I mean, if I had a grill like that, I don't think that I would be able to eat apples, right? Or eat corn nuts, right? And anyway, I think for reasons of cleanliness, I'll just stick with the nighttime retainer. That retainer is a retainer the nighttime retainer is a retainer that I'll put into my mouth when my mouth is clean, right? After I brush my teeth. No problem. I can do that. So I'm really beginning to feel happy about my decision about what my choice of retainers. All right, so that's cool. So let's start answering questions about the question of the day for the video. The question is, what was the last concert I attended and who did I attend with? I think that's relatively easy answer. Now, I've been to a couple music festivals lately. I went to Lucidity Music Festival and I went to Shebang. And those are music festivals where there are a lot of artists that show up on stage and perform. And so I'm excluding those because a lot of those performers, at least in my mind, they're amazing musicians, and I've totally loved the work that they've produced. But I'm not necessarily tracking them or following them or going to their concerts individually, right? So the last concert I went to was Yanni. Emily, you may not be familiar with Yanni. Yanni is this new age performer, new age music. Actually, and so that kind of music, how would I describe new age music? Well, it's like spa music. It's kind of flowy and gentle, and it's sort of like electronic classical music. Yeah. It's easy listening. Mhm. But, there can be moments in that music where it's quite powerful. So, yeah, I went to see Yanni, and I went with my friend Tara Trujillo. She invited me. I guess she had an extra ticket or something. And I was more than happy to go. Really enjoyed that concert. Very good. We went to, I think it's called like the Paso Robles Amphitheater or something like that. It's a place that I hadn't been to before to see a concert. Anyway, that actually gets me to think about what future concerts I might attend. And believe it or not, the future concert that I'm kind of looking at potentially seeing in the future is going to see Taylor Swift. I'm serious. I'm serious. She is like one of the artists that I'm really following now. That and Ariana Grande. But here's the thing. Ariana Grande's recent album has just not sparked a strong interest in me. Why? I don't know. So I think Taylor Swift is probably the next concert I'm going to go to in the future. When will that happen? I don't know. Can't say. I could also go to Lady Gaga or I know, Emily, what's kind of funny is I remember you telling me about how easy it is for me to find the music from my artists that I like, because I like the conventional pop artists. Isn't that funny? I've been hearing good things about the Jonas Brothers, and so I I might want to start exploring them as a possibility, perhaps going to see one of their concerts too. We'll see how it goes. I don't actually go to see that many concerts. It's kind of unusual for me to go to concerts. I tend to just like listening to recorded music. It's there, the performance is perfect. I'm not necessarily, I mean, I love going to music concerts, but it's not a big part of my life. Going to music concerts is a lot more than just the music, right? It's about the people you meet. It's about the atmosphere. It's about the venue. It's sort of like the experience of going to a concert, which is a whole lot different from the experience of, say, listening to an MP3 on your MP3 player or on your smartphone and through your Bluetooth wireless headphones. It's a lot different. So, and in fact, those concert venues, I don't know to what extent they reflect the personality and the themes of the performance artist. Because a lot of the venues are shared, right? They're for general public attendance, right? And like the auditoriums and such. And I don't know, they're pretty much, like, aside from the music, and perhaps aside from slight differences in the crowds themselves, the music going experiences are pretty much the same. So I guess then the question arises, like, how do you differentiate amongst, say, different musical concerts? Like, there's really small venues like bars and people's homes. Then there's much larger venues like Staples Center and sports arenas. I've been to music concerts that cross the continuum. I think I like the small venues better, just as a rule, and it almost doesn't matter what music the artist is playing. The smaller the venue, the better. I mean, I enjoy the big venue artists too, but believe it or not, it's hard to, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm really cut out for like the sports arena music artist performance. You just kind of sit in a chair for 2-3 hours. It's like, I don't know if I'm into that. When I'm listening to a music artist who I love to listen to, I am throwing my body around. I'm happy and enjoying the music. And you can't do that in a stadium chair, really. You can't do a lot of dancing. You can't dance it out if you need to. And really, if I am to overgeneralize, the musical artists that I like to listen to are musical artists that play music that I like to dance to, right? And that sort of precludes much sitting around. Anyway, let's see what's going on with me. I've got a big week coming up. I've got a final exam tonight in my welding class. 2 final exams, if you want to be accurate. I ought to be ready for at least one of those final exams. And let's see, I'm going to Tucson, Arizona this weekend. Oh yeah, I'll be flying out there on Sunday and staying the early part of next week. And let's see, all kinds of things going on. So that's probably the biggest thing I got going on. Oh, and then today is the first day that one could sign up for classes at Allen Hancock College over the summer semester. So that is definitely something I want to do. Whether I do it today or not I'm not completely sure I'll be able to do it, but that is something I'm taking a look at. Maybe I'll do it on Friday. I'll sign up for classes on Friday. But today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I think I could sign up for classes on Friday. And of course, I'm also looking forward to traveling out to New Mexico, I guess the last week of May. Speaking of the last week of May, my birthday is coming up. Absolutely. Today is the 8th? And my birthday is the 27th of May. So what is that, 11 days or something like that? Or what is it? What is 27 minus 8? 19? 19 days, I'll be 48 years old. I'll be 48 years young, man. Yep. And what's great is that my life is going better than it's ever been going in my life. So isn't that nice? Yeah, I'm also better looking than I've ever been in my life too. Have I mentioned that? So that's great. I'm glad to know that. So what's going on? I know your birthday is coming up soon. That's right, the 21st of June. It's just around the corner. I'm looking forward to it. I'm already contemplating what birthday gifts I'll be giving to you. And looking forward to that actually happening. So that's pretty good. That may very well cover it. So recently, I have been thinking to myself about looking at life more positively. I've spoken to you in the past few days, about these philosophies I've got regarding how to think about life in general, right? My external reality, my internal reality, and how to understand it and sort of view it. And in fact, I was thinking recently about this metaphor of looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. And I was thinking about how that metaphor is so apt. It is apt to what? It is, it just sounds like a really useful general stance to take. I think looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, it might be simplistic, but I think it's accurate. We are all looking at the world through lenses. And, a lot of our interpretation has to do with our perspectives, right? For every judgment that we make, there are decisions we're making about our stance, right? Our perspective. We're almost choosing about, a judgment doesn't take place in a vacuum. A judgment, a moral judgment in particular, takes place in a context. Moral truth is contextual. Moral truth is also contextual. And when you are expressing judgments, you're expressing your moral truth. And so that moral truth takes place in a context. And that part of that context is the way that you view yourself. I think that's really important to know. So, for example, let's say that I'm going to place a judgment on snakes, the reptile, right? Snakes are scary, right? I could say snakes are scary. And, the reason they're scary is because they can bite me, right? And they can do me harm. So what if, in a way, there are assumptions surrounding that judgment? For example, the fact that I'm vulnerable to injury from snakes, right? That's an assumption. What if I was a superhero like Superman. And even if a million snakes tried to bite me, that it would do me no harm because I'm the Man of Steel. So, I mean, would it even make sense for me to say that snakes are scary? Knowing that I was Superman? Well, the thing about Superman is that since nothing can hurt him, um, there's no reason for him to think that snakes are scary. Why would he think that snakes are scary? It's like thinking that rocks are scary. You know, it would make no sense. In fact, because rocks can hurt a person, Superman would not be afraid of rocks. Even big ones that were being thrown at him, he would not be concerned about because he's impermeable to he can't be injured by rocks. So yeah, for every judgment there is it takes place in a context. So here's my idea. This whole idea of rose-colored glasses I like because in a way it makes implications. There are implications about, I think, the self, subtle implications when one wears rose-colored glasses. And here is what I think the subtle implications are about the person making a judgment through rose-colored glasses. I think, first of all, there are implications about if you're looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, the assumptions you're making about yourself are that you're flexible. I mean, if you almost have to be, that you cannot be hurt. I'm serious. If you're looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, let's say, here's an example. Let's say there is thermonuclear global war. Global thermonuclear war breaks out on this planet, and you're looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. Okay, let's take it to the extreme. Sometimes, from a philosophical standpoint, a mental experiment you can run is to take it to the extreme and see what happens. So let's imagine I'm looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. Global thermonuclear war breaks out. And so what are some of the arguments that I would use in that case? While wearing, I'm going to put on my rose-colored glasses. Okay. and I want you to start thinking about the assumptions I'm making about myself. Well, I would say something like, well, I would say that, after this global thermonuclear war, then the world and all the living things that continue to live on the planet will continue to live without struggling against mankind's influence because mankind will be wiped out. And that's a good thing. It means less suffering, less death for the animals and the plants living on the planet, because they won't have to battle for habitat with human beings. So there we go. That's good for the planet overall, at least in some sense, except for perhaps the spots of radioactivity, which may persist for a long time. I'm going to put on my rose-colored glasses here in the face of global thermonuclear war. And let's make another few statements if I'm putting on my rose-colored glasses. Well, if there are any human survivors, I think it'll be a good lesson learned for those human survivors, right? They'll be able to know what the outcome of violence is, so attempting to solve problems through violence, and that it's, it has long-term negative consequences, right? The problems that you're trying to solve, when you attempt to solve them through violence, you find that it's not worth it in the end. That those tactics just aren't. I mean, they're effective in some respects. I mean, you do vanquish your enemies, but at the same time, at a very high cost to yourself. In fact, a cost that's often so high that in retrospect, usually you wouldn't necessarily perform it again. So that's our valuable lesson for the people or the persons that might continue to exist after global thermonuclear war. So what I'd like. Oh, here's another one. Here's another statement that I might make with my rose-colored glasses on. I might think, well, golly, so I'll be dying shortly from the nuclear weapon. And you know what a relief it'll be. I can't wait to experience the peace and tranquility of eternal non-existence. And you know what? Maybe my body can be used for fertilizer to aid future generations of insects and plant life and animal life, right? When I'm dead and gone. So there we go. I've put on my pink glasses. So tell me about what this says about myself. Well, it says that things like, well, you might very well die, but there will be benefits to other people and perhaps to yourself and to people or other living things in the world. It's sort of this wider perspective, right? And it almost what's kind of interesting about the perspective is what it says about me is that there's almost an indifference to me being harmed. It's like it's almost like a superpower. I sort of, whatever, say, death or injuries occur to me, or whatever pain is created as a result of what the consequences of whatever's happening in my external reality, I'm not bothered by them. I have a neutral, accepting stance. It's actually a really powerfully accepting stance about whatever happens, even if I experience pain, injury, and death. That's a really powerful perspective. So, and then when I talk about, say, the lessons learned, and I'm talking about increasing knowledge of the people who remain on Earth, and the benefits that they'll accrue. So I'm talking about the benefits that other people will accrue, maybe not myself, but the benefits that the survivors will accrue from learning this information. So what does that say about myself? Well, you know what? It really doesn't say much about myself, but there is sort of like an indifference or an acceptance of whatever state that I'm in. I think that's a really powerful perspective. So what was my first argument? I was talking about, other people, the other plants and other animals that continue to survive after global thermonuclear war. It's almost a focus on the other, right? It sort of leaves who I am as sort of this sort of radically accepting and also sort of empathically compassionate. Basically, it's me being compassionate about others and me sort of fully accepting whatever condition I happen to be in myself. That's a really, looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, I think is a really powerful perspective. And there are implications, assumptions about who I am when I put on rose-colored glasses. Fully accepting and then fully compassionate about others, fully accepting of myself and my own condition, and fully compassionate about others. Those are the moral assumptions that I make. That's the context of me putting on rose-colored glasses. And, that's a really powerful stance. I mean, in a way, that is also the most ideal stance. It's sort of the stance where you sort of come to grips with the idea that you might be hurt or injured or fall ill, or it's almost like full acceptance of whatever happens, no matter what it is. And it's not just acceptance, but it's also sort of like it goes beyond coping, you know? It's really powerful. It's a really powerful metaphor. And I like it. Here's the reason I like it. Because, most of the time people just dwell on the problems. You know what? I've got a problem. I've got to go to work. So, Emily, it was a pleasure talking to you about global thermonuclear war this morning. And I just want to encourage you to have a wonderful day today and a wonderful week. And I hope you're doing well with your braces on. Have fun brushing your teeth after every meal. I mean, I'll continue to do the same. But so happy to have my teeth back. I'm just like off the wall with enjoyment of my new teeth. And so here's my teeth saying goodbye, because I'm gonna wrap this up. So I'll talk to you later, Em. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I'll be writing some letters to you shortly, sometime later this week, if I can find the time. I'm so busy. Like I said, I've got 2 final exams tonight, and then I've got gymming. I missed going to the gym yesterday. I kind of wish I had like a time stop. Please stop time right now, because I really have a lot to do and a very little time to get it done in. So talk to you later, girl. I love you. Bye-bye.